Hi there, it's Riikka Kovasin here with another video for Nathalie's Creative Squad. This time the theme was good morning, good evening. Of those two times of day I wanted to choose night. I'm a would-be night owl, but more about that in my blog post. I had two sources for inspiration for this art journal page. One of them was the first project I did when receiving the new ArtFoamies Nathalie has designed, and the other one was a scenery late at night or evening when I was looking through our living room window. The color scheme was really striking. It was this inky blue tones in the sky and golden kind of yellow tones on the ground and in the buildings as the street lights were lighting the scenery. But what made the greatest impact was this fluffy kind of streak of a white cloud hanging in mid-air. So that was the scenery I wanted to recreate in my art journal. I decided to make the colorful elements using gel printing. So I made a couple of prints using blue color scheme. So I had a little bit to choose from for the background. And then I made also one with yellow tones to be used with the buildings. I tried to make the blue prints a little bit kind of gradient, so there would be darker and lighter tones. But in the end, you can't see that variation really much anymore because there's so much layers coming on top. When I had the prints done, several of the blue ones and one of the yellow one, I then chose one of the blue prints and continued working on that. I added a layer with stenciling on top. I used the darkest of the blue acrylic paints I already had going in there and just sponged this pattern on top. The stencil is by StencilGirl and it's called Deco Empire, also designed by Nathalie. After that, I then stamped the row houses to my yellow piece of paper. I used black acrylic paint for the stamping, brayered it onto my ArtFoamies, and then press it to the yellow print. This way the buildings are like silhouettes and the yellow tones are only shown in the details. Then it was time to make that fluffy streak-like cloud I saw. For that I wetted the dark blue print with just water and then used a fluid white acrylic, kind of treating it as watercolor, letting the paint bleed or wick out from the stream I painted, and this caused it to be similar to that cloud I saw. I also used a heat tool to really get those streaks going and did a couple of layers. When I then had the background almost done, there's still some elements going there, I cut the row houses loose and then inked the edges. It's kind of hiding the cut edge but also bringing a little bit of shadow to the buildings. I also wanted to hinder the yellow tone just a little bit to make it more like it's a silhouette of a building and not fully lit. Then I used double-sided tape to adhere the buildings in place and took out my paper cutter and trimmed the page to be fitted inside my art journal. Now that I have the buildings almost done, I'm concentrating to the night sky. I'm first adding there the moon, which I cut from a silver glitter cardstock, and then some stars as well. I'm inking the glitter cardstock just a little bit with the same black ink to make it resemble the moon a little bit more. So there's kind of variation to the lightness of the moon. Then I adhere it in place using double-sided tape and add the first layer of stars. I'm actually using a couple of different colors to make them. The first one is the silver acrylic paint, which I just dilute a little bit and then splatter all around. I'm trying to avoid to get the stars to the building, but also I'm wiping the moon clean from the splashes. After the splashes had dried, I then adhere the print to my journal and then continued adding the stars. I used a teeny tiny star paper punch to punch out some glitter stars, 3 of them, and I'm adhering them to the page first. Then I take out my paint markers and color one of the windows even more vibrantly yellow. I kind of thought that that would be my window and I'm crafting there where everybody else is sleeping. I use the paint pens also to make some stars. I used 2 colors, white and silver. The splashes created different sizes of stars as well, as there's bigger and smaller splashes, but with a paint marker I am more in control of the size, so I can make teeny tiny dots or then a little bit bigger, so that there's a little bit variation in the stars as well. Then the last touches. First I'm using a Stabilo pen to create a halo for the moon. So it's a white pen and I'm just drawing a couple of circles around the glitter moon to make a little halo for it. And after filming, I'm adding 2 text stickers to the page that give it its title, Dreamer and Doer Under the Stars. It sounded poetic to me. So here's the finished project and some detail shots. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I'll be seeing you in next month for another Nathalie Creative Squad video. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please consider subscribing. Thank you. Bye.